Welcome to Sun Crime State, a weekly podcast that takes an in-depth look at Florida's biggest crime stories of the past and present. In this episode, I'll discuss the sentencing of a South Carolina woman who 20 years ago stole a baby from a Jacksonville hospital when the infant was just 8 hours old and brought her back to South Carolina, where she raised her. The kidnapper wouldn't be caught for 18 years, and on Friday, she was sentenced to 18 years in prison. My special guest for that segment will be Florida Times Union investigative reporter Alexis Kelli.
Tearful moments in court for the mother of Kamiyah Mobley as her daughter's admitted kidnapper faces up to 27 years in prison.
I am your mother, Kamiyah.
Even after 2 decades, the pain is still fresh from that crime back in 1998.
Please bury my baby. I know you.
Footage from the News 4 Jax vault shows the baby girl's biological mother making a public plea for the return of her newborn. Today, her grown-up daughter, who now goes by the name of Alexis Manigo, sat in the back of the courtroom and showed no sign she is taking sides.
And this is video of Manigo leaving court about an hour ago. We've learned she will not be taking the stand. The 20-year-old has defended Gloria Williams in the past, even pleading for leniency. Williams had been raising Manigo as her own daughter in South Carolina until she was arrested in January of last year.
For nearly 9 hours today, the court heard from family and friends who described how this kidnapping and long-running mystery has caused them excruciating emotional hardship.
Coming up, the story of the Jacksonville baby kidnapping.
It doesn't heal now. I'm still hurting. When this is you reaching out to my child. That is my child. I am your mother, Kamiyah. I am your mother.
That was Kamiyah Mobley, who at 16 years old had her infant daughter stolen from her by Gloria Williams, who posed as a nurse at what was then the University Medical Center in downtown Jacksonville. On July 10th, 1998, Williams snatched the baby, Kamiyah Mobley, and placed her in a bag and walked through the hospital's parking lot. She fooled the family into thinking she was a nurse. She fooled the nurses into thinking she was family. Williams never looked back as she drove all the way to Walterboro, South Carolina. Kamiyah Mobley has not spoken much to the media during the past 20 years, but soon after her release from the hospital, she was interviewed by a local television station. Here is a portion of her interview. Listen for yourself just how devastated she was.
Please bury my baby. I know you. If you don't have no kids, if you was faking a pregnancy or, you just can't have no kids. How you think I feel? True enough, I'm only 16 years old, but I have fantasy. That's my first child.
After she got home, Williams packed a bag full of diapers and other supplies and kept it lying around for a while, expecting police to find her. That bag was for police to use as they traveled back to Jacksonville with the baby. But the police never came. Williams had committed the perfect crime, and the more she kept the baby, the more she fell in love with her. Kamiyah Mobley's name was changed to Alexis Manigo. During the first 18 years of her life, she always went by Alexis or Lexi. Kamiyah Mobley, meanwhile, continued living for the next 18 years, not knowing what happened to her daughter. Times Union investigative reporter Alexis Kelli has covered this story for years.
I just know that she's a very hurt woman. And it was really sad in court in May when she was saying, what she lost in life and how she was preyed upon because she was a child, having a child. And, that's why she picked her.
On January 13th, 2017, Williams was arrested. The Times-Union reported at the time that roughly 2,500 tips resulted in dead ends, but 2 tips from late 2016 came into the Center for Missing and Exploited Children that sent Jacksonville Sheriff's cold case detectives to Walterboro, which is about 200 miles north of Jacksonville. It is the county seat of Colleton County and has a population of about 5,000 residents. Investigators learned that Alexis Manigo had the same birthday as Kamiyah Mobley. Then they learned fake documents were drawn up to establish her identity. The investigators conducted interviews with people in the community, and then Alexis herself gave them a DNA sample. It was a match.
She said, girl, there's 2 men coming up with badges and suits on. I said, oh, girl, that's the FBI. Seemed like it. I say, so I hurry up and came out the door and shut the door. And I'm like, yes. And then when they came up, they was like, you should arm. I'm like, yes. And the first thing I did was drop my head in my hands. I said, y'all found my baby? They was like, we need you to come down to the police memorial building. They just so calm. Oh, we need you to come down to the police memorial building tomorrow morning, say about 9:30. If you found somebody, baby, they shouldn't have to wait another day. And then when we get down there, I think the only person that smiled the biggest, and I remember her smile, was, what's the state attorney lady? Melissa. Oh, my God. Like, she was so happy. Everybody else was just like, I guess because it went their child. And everybody, even the sheriffs, I remember he was just like, to me, I felt like he was nonchalant with it, too. Like, he was like, yeah, we found Kamiyah. And he had a little smile. But I respect when y'all done broke a big case like that, supposedly, that you would be, about to fall, jump up out your seat. I didn't get that. I didn't get that. And
did you ask to see a photograph? And they told you that
she wanted to FaceTime, and they said that she actually wanted to speak to her mom. Okay. So she wanted to speak to her mom. So we FaceTime. We was like, me and her, so you could tell we mama and daughter, because we went to Harlan and everything. And then the lady was, and then again, that victim's advocate lady, very just inappropriate, nasty. She was like, well, me and Kamiyah talking. She was like, no, let everybody see. I'm her mom. I had her. Why I just can't be one-on-one with her right now? No, hold it up so everybody can see, like,
Detectives, along with an agent from the FBI, sat down with Alexis and told her that the people who were posing as her family weren't her family at all, and that she was really Kamiyah Mobley. She already knew part of the story. She knew that her mother had taken her. She had found that out 2 years earlier. But on this day, authorities told her that her life was about to be turned upside down. Williams, the only mother Alexis ever knew, was going to be arrested, and she was going to be sent to prison, possibly for life.
News 4 Jax reporter Scott Johnson and Janice Harris have been inside the courtroom all day. We begin with Janice.
You know, Alexis Manigo has been fairly quiet throughout the entire day. In fact, I asked her if she wanted to make a comment at the end of the day, and she declined. However, inside of that courtroom, when you began to hear testimony from her biological family and the family that raised her, you began to see emotion out of Alexis and many other people in the room. She would cry, as well as Gloria Williams, over and over again. Gloria Williams stole Kamiyah Mobley's first child in 1998 when Williams pretended to be a nurse. Mobley's pain rang out in court today.
That person was John.
She was the supposedly be nurse, and she was in there helping me this. Oh my God.
Pain that brought Williams to tears. Williams' secret has hurt many people. Williams named the baby Alexis and lied to this man, telling him he was the father and giving her his last name, Manigo.
Unbelievable pain at all. You know, I mean, days I haven't slept last night on the way down here. Don't even know what to say. Just the betrayal and the hurt.
Gloria Williams' mother, Gloria Brown, said she didn't know her daughter was living a lie, but she wants Williams out of jail. A mention of her failing health brings Williams to tears. A pastor at the local church in South Carolina defends Williams too.
Is a loving, caring, God-fearing woman.
Kamiyah's biological father wants Williams to stay in prison for the maximum sentence.
But you got to pay for what you did.
Williams' father agrees. She must pay the price for kidnapping Kamiyah Mobley.
It was hard to understand why she did it, but as far as my life changing, I didn't change. He said, you do the crime, you got to do the time.
A judge will now decide that time.
And the hearing begins tomorrow around 10 a.m. We're expected to hear even more testimony tomorrow. Live from the Duval County Courthouse, Janice Harris, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Janice. We're also hearing from a number of other people touched by the case. Everyone from police detectives to Gloria Williams' old boyfriend who paid years of child support thinking Alexis Manigo was his daughter. News 4 Jax reporter Scott Johnson joins us live from the Duval County Courthouse now. Scott.
Mary, this was affecting so many people. Hundreds and hundreds of people literally had to get involved in a case which is finally now being resolved here 20 years later. Police spent well over a decade trying to find out what happened to the baby girl who was kidnapped from this Jacksonville hospital in 1998. That included one of the original detectives who says they got around 3,000 tips, but no real leads for years.
So it required every single detective to abandon whatever they were doing and essentially track down each one of these leads. And when I say track down a lead, I'm talking about to the end. So it required a lot of travel, required a lot of investigations.
The impact of this kidnapping also really affected the biological family. Velma Aiken is the girl's biological grandmother. She says she was in the hospital when Williams, pretending to be a nurse, kidnapped the baby.
When I was going in, she was on her way going out with the baby in her arms. And so I said, where grandmama baby going? She said the baby had to go for a test, so be back in 15 minutes. I said, well, grandmama just got here. I need to see my grandbaby.
But moments later, the woman she thought was a nurse was gone with her granddaughter. And now 20 years later, she faces that woman again, but not in a hospital room, in a courtroom. And that grandmother, Janice, echoed something a lot of family members of Kamiyah Mobley, the Mobley side of this, said, was that they've really been under suspicion for 20 years, people thinking they may have had something to do with this until Alexis Kamiyah was finally found.
That's true. The family has suffered a lot. They've been accused of doing something that they didn't do, and all they wanted was their child back.
Guys, we're going to send it back to you in the studio.
Scott, Janice, take us through what's expected in court tomorrow on day 2 of Williams' sentencing hearing.
Well, Janice, the big thing I took away from this is that Alexis is not going to testify.
That was the thing we were hoping for, but we found that out today. She is not going to talk. Instead, they're going to use interviews that were previously completed that they're going to use basically as Alexis's testimony, if you will. But Gloria Williams is expected to testify tomorrow.
And we expect that to be sometime between 10 and 10:30. Of course, we'll stream it live on news4jax.com. Back to you.
It turned out that on Friday, she was sentenced to 18 years, 1 year in prison for every year that Kamiyah had been reported missing. The news rocked the Walterboro community.
No one could believe it, that this, God-fearing, church-going woman had lived this lie, and everything that we traveled all around. I did, going from different places where they lived and finding different neighborhoods and going to schools where Kamiyah grew up under the name Alexis, and everyone was just absolutely stunned. I mean, they were just kind of this perfect little family of a mother and daughter that got along perfectly, that two attractive people. She did well in school. The mother was very active in her church, very active in her community. She took care of veterans. She took care of her parents. She was, wonderful and neighborly. Everyone just couldn't believe that, she was arrested on kidnapping? What, that little girl that looks like her isn't your daughter?
Williams may have raised Kamiyah into the impressive young woman she is today, but she also dropped a big mess into her lap. Kamiyah is torn between the woman she called Mom, who is now in prison, and a family she doesn't know, but desperately wants to be part of her life. Additionally, Kamiyah doesn't have all the documents that ordinary American adults have, and that has caught up to her.
Eventually the lies were going to come through. Eventually she couldn't get a license. She couldn't go to college. She was registered for school with a fake birth certificate. Eventually she may want to get married.
She only recently obtained a Social Security card. This case has devastated Kamiyah's birth family. Here is Kelli describing the one sit-down interview Kamiyah Mobley granted to the Times Union nearly a decade ago.
Kamiyah has not talked to anyone. She gave our paper an interview at the 10-year anniversary. It was a really touching story, and she had talked about how every year on Kamiyah's birthday, how she buys a sheet cake, and she'll cut a piece herself and for her children, and then she'll stuff a piece, she'll wrap a piece in tin foil and place it in the freezer for the just in case. And she had told our reporter 10 years ago that this is what she had done every year for 10 years.
Kamiyah Mobley is now 36 years old. Kamiyah's biological father is Craig Aiken. He was in jail on a drug charge when Kamiyah was born. After he got out, he was jailed on statutory rape allegations. He was in his 20s when he impregnated Kamiyah, who was 15 years old at the time. Aiken has been a free man for years, and he and Mobley remain close. He, too, felt extreme emotional pain following Kamiyah's abduction. When he and Mobley got the news that their daughter had been found and she was safe and alive, they rejoiced and drove the 200 miles together to Walterboro to meet their child.
Oh, they were absolutely overjoyed. And they drove up the next morning to go meet their daughter for the first time. Craig had never actually set eyes on his daughter. Finally get to meet this little girl. They post a selfie. It's a wonderful photo. We talked to them briefly up in Walterboro. He was just ecstatic. But I believe he was probably, that may have been a little bit of a veneer, because I believe that he did find out that she had known for a while and didn't say help. I think what you imagine on TV, help me, I've been kidnapped kind of thing. Because when I called him later, he did break down. He said, yes, we did find out. I'm trying to not think about it. And so for this past year and a half, he's tried hard not to think about a lot of things.
Aiken, unlike Mobley, has agreed to speak to the media. Kamiyah herself has also agreed to interviews. The story made national news, and she has made numerous television appearances. She even agreed to take part on a cable reality show. But there is some awkwardness between Kamiyah and her birth parents. Things are also now awkward between her and those she knew back in South Carolina. During one of Williams's court hearings last month, Kamiyah sat by herself in the courtroom, away from both the Mobley family and the Williams family. During recesses, she would sit by herself in the courtyard. Kelli pointed out to me what could be causing the strain. Mobley has been very unforgiving toward her daughter's abductor.
I hate to use these words, but I hate her. I hate her. I do. And I've been using those words a lot lately, hate. And I hate to say that word, but I do. But I'm asking God to forgive you too. Well, I'm asking God to have me to forgive you too.
And now, with this sentence, honestly, it could be a bigger struggle, because the little girl did not want a harsh sentence. And in court, Kamiyah had told the judge she would like the death penalty. Now, that was never going to be on the table. You can't help but wonder, think, oh, wow, how's this going to, what's this going to do to your relationship? Maybe she got caught up in the moment. It was incredibly emotional.
The lingering question to all of this is why? Why did Gloria Williams decide 20 years ago to steal someone else's baby? Heather Crawford of First Coast News, the NBC affiliate in Jacksonville, described to viewers what Williams herself told the court last month.
Now, the motive, why did she kidnap Kamiyah Mobley? That's something that so many people have wanted to know. And today, in her own words, Gloria Williams said she was in an abusive relationship and she got pregnant and she thought that a baby would bring peace to that relationship. And when she had a miscarriage, she described just a kind of a state of confusion and chaos and getting in a car, driving south down I-95, getting off at a Jacksonville exit and ending up at the hospital, what is now UF Health Hospital. And in there, she said, I found myself looking at the newborns in the newborn ward, thinking to myself, fighting with myself. And then hours later, she would walk away with Kamiyah Mobley and live with this deep, dark secret she said she told not a soul about for 18 years.
On this second day of this hearing, Williams disclosed publicly for the first time that when she walked out of the old University Hospital with baby Kamiyah back in 1998, she carried the newborn child in a bag. That revelation drew gasps from the girl's biological family. News 4 Jax reporter Janice Harris is joining us live. Janice, Williams tried to explain that she hoped this baby would be a solution to her problems back home in South Carolina.
Yes, she says that she was a victim of domestic violence, and she really thought that the person she was with at the time, Charles Manigo, would be happy, and she would be happily ever after with this new baby girl. And she said when she got on the road to go get that newborn baby, she didn't know that's what she was going to do. But when she saw her, she walked out that hospital with that newborn baby girl.
52-year-old Gloria Williams revealed her thoughts the day she decided to drive from South Carolina to Jacksonville to kidnap Kamiyah Mobley.
Did you ultimately get off of an exit on 95?
Yes.
Do you know where that was?
Here in Jacksonville.
What was your intent at that time?
It was definitely not to take a baby.
Williams would stop at University Hospital, now known as UF Health, still dressed in her work clothes, hospital scrubs. Williams found the baby ward, befriended a total stranger, Kidnapper Mobley, Kamiyah Mobley's biological mother. It had been less than 12 hours since the baby girl was born.
I was thinking about, maybe this baby can help Charles.
Charles Manigo, her then boyfriend, who Williams claimed beat her.
I thought it would bring peace to the family. It didn't.
Williams eventually left her boyfriend, but she didn't tell Alexis the truth until she was 16. She grew up with what the state calls a fake name.
Did you change her name?
Yes, I did.
What did you change it to?
Alexis Kelli.
Williams craved having a baby since a recent miscarriage. Photos show how the baby girl's life changed for the next 18 years. The missing baby photo and a child's identity card, ironically in case someone else kidnapped her or she disappeared. Alexis Manigo was being raised by a kidnapper and didn't know it.
Williams said in court several times today that she did not have the intention of stealing this child, but she also looked Kamiyah Mobley's parents in the face and said, I am so sorry. I am so sorry, and I hope that you can forgive me. Live at the Duval County Courthouse, Janice Harris, Channel 4, the local station.
For now, Kamiyah is still living in South Carolina. She is gainfully employed and still communicates with the woman who stole her, which is another dagger to the heart of her biological mother.
She did not want Gloria to be in jail for a long time. She has said, I realize what she did was wrong, but I don't want this to be a long sentence. They've shared letters back and forth. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
Gloria Williams, who was 52 years old, was credited for the 511 days she has spent in jail. She is expected to be released from prison after she turns 68.